Good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, dear.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, all of you. How are you, Indraneel?
Fine, ma'am.
Did you see the Jagannath Rath Yatra on TV yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see the Jagannath Rath Yatra on TV?
No, I didn't saw only because I was.
It had come in news. I thought maybe you saw.
Ma'am, in the photo that you have sent, the after G, we don't have to write anything. That H, I, J.
That when we finish, we will write. Till now, I have done till G. That's why I said. If today we are finishing, then you finish the whole worksheet.
Okay.
Today we'll be finishing the chapter. Okay.
And ma'am, you're going to give the markings of the textbook also.
I have given no. See the scanned copy I have sent in that all markings are there.
Yeah, ma'am.
You open the scanned copy and you do the markings. I saw that some children are not having textbook. Now some people are away, they are not in Thane. After seeing all these things, I decided to post the scanned images. So yesterday I have put the scanned images. Okay, because this will eliminate confusion. The thing is, we are all sitting in our own home. So if I tell somebody else to send, like yesterday Ria said she will send it to Anushka Sonpal and all, but markings and all should be proper, so I didn't want to cause any confusion. I thought better I put it in the group. Okay, so I have put all the markings in the group. You guys can see from there. So let's start the class now. So we finished with the military administration, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask a few questions before I start. Like, Drishya, who are the officers in the central administration? Yes. Okay, one at least she remembered. Somebody else tell.
I remember two.
You have, acha, the second.
Yeah, Purohit and Senapati.
Purohit and Senapati. Very good. Who can tell the other two?
Ma'am, can I tell?
Who's that? Raise hands. Through reactions, you raise your hands, then I will know. Okay. Okay. Kushal.
Ma'am, Sanhidata and Samartha.
Samartha. Sanidata and
Samartha.
Samartha. Yeah. Okay. And 1 minute. Yeah, Arjun, in the provincial government, who are the officers?
It was Pradeshika, Yajuka and Rajuka and Yukta.
Very good. Prai. Pradeshika, Rajuka and Yukta. Okay. Good. PS3 and Prai. We had decided yesterday.
It's lagging for me.
And apart from that, what is the, Kea, tell me, who is the governor of the province? Head of the province?
Ma'am, may I try? My hand is
Yeah. I can hear now. Tell.
Aryaputra.
Aryaputra or
Kumara.
or Kumara. Yeah, Aryaputra or Kumara. And who assisted this Aryaputra?
Mahamatra.
Mahamatra. Very good. Indraneel, tell me.
I got disconnected. I got disconnected.
Who got disconnected?
I had gotten. Could you hear my answer?
Yeah,
Could
but
you hear?
yeah. We heard your answer. We heard your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Indraneel, tell me, what are the two types of taxes that were levied?
The taxes that were levied was the liquor and gambling.
No. The two main taxes. Name the two main taxes.
Ma'am, Bali and Bhagya.
Let you know. If I ask Indranil, he should answer. If he says I don't know, then I will give the chance to others. If you don't know, you will say don't know.
Ma'am, the two main taxes is Bali and Bhaga.
Very good. Bali and Bhaga. Very good.
Bali.
Yeah. Samrit, please first switch on your videos. There are so many children who have switched off their videos. All videos to be on. Okay. Samrit, tell me what is Bali?
Bali are the taxes for religious taxes, I think.
Yeah, religious taxes for sacrifices. Very good. Sumit, what is Bhaga?
Is the agricultural tax.
Tax on agricultural produce. Okay. Ritika, tell me how much was the agricultural tax?
Ma'am, the agricultural tax was from 1/4 to 1/6 of the produce.
Yes, 1/4 to 1/6 of the produce. Very good. What are the components of the army, Mauryan army? Aryaman, answer. Mauryan army consisted of what?
The Mauryan army consisted of cavalry, infantry, elephants, and chariots.
Very good. What were the weapons, Manat? What were the weapons used by the Mauryan army soldiers? Unmute yourself. You are muted. Ha. Now you tell. Are again you're muted. Ha. Manat, when you unmute, you wait for 2 minutes. Immediately you're pressing. That's why it's getting muted again. Unmute and don't do anything. Okay, fine. There's some problem there. Ria, tell me.
Bows, arrows, swords, and shields.
Swords, shields, bows, arrows, etc. Very good. And yeah, the city. Who was the head of the city? Meghna, can you answer? Head of the city?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah.
And the head of the city was, I forgot.
No problem. Anybody can remembers, then raise hands. If anybody remembers this. But I don't want you all to see the book and answer. Huh? Be honest. Remember and tell me. If you can't remember, it's fine. Aratrika.
Head of the city was Nagar Adhyaksha.
Nagar Adhyaksh. Nagar is city. Okay, Nagar is city and Adhyaksh is head. I told you yesterday. So Nagar Adhyaksh. Nagar Adhyaksh is the head of the city, city administration. How many people yes. Who was that? Yeah, Rucha, tell me.
Ma'am, I had a doubt.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in provincial government over there, the Kumara was assisted by the Mahamatras, right? So the governors were the Mahamatras or the Kumara.
Governor means head, and the governors. Okay. In your book, it is given governor is Mahamatra. Yeah. Okay. He's an officer, whereas see, princes are like part of the royal family, and they are as good as they are like a smaller king. You can see who is head of the province. Yeah, governor is Mahamatra. Please change that. Okay, governor is Mahamatra. Okay.
Thank you.
What is the other thing I was asking? Yeah, Krishna Nunni. How do I call you?
I'm Krishna
How
Nunni.
does everybody calls you Krishna Nunni?
Yeah, some people call me Unni.
I'll call you Unni. Okay. Unni, tell me, what is this? How many people assisted the Nagar Adhyaksh?
I think 30 members.
Yes.
30
A council of 30 people. Yeah. They helped the Nagar Adhyaksh, and Nagar Adhyaksh plus 30 people, they looked after the cities. Okay.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, I have a doubt. So basically, the province was headed by the Kumara, and the city was headed by the Nagar Adhyaksh. So what is the difference between the two?
No. City was managed by the Nagaradhyaks. So in the city only the king will be there. Na? See the capital city Pataliputra. There only the king and his palace and everything will be there. But managing the people in the city was the responsibility of the Nagaradhyaksh.
So there is only one city in the whole.
Yeah, generally the capital city only is the city. Rest of them are all small villages.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
And okay, so that is it. So what else I wanted to ask? What is Beri Ghosha? Raise hands if you know. What is Beri Ghosha? Kushal. No, Aryaman and Kushal I have given chance. Anu Krishna, did I give you chance? Anu Krishna, can you tell me what is Beri Ghosha? No. Anybody else? Rucha, do you remember what's Beri Ghosha? Aiden, tell me what is Beri Ghosha?
Ma'am.
Tell.
Ma'am, it was some policy of conquest by force, something conquest.
Yes. Victory in, yeah. That was conquest by force. Beri Ghosha. Beri Ghosha is the cry of the war drum.
That was Digvijay, right?
Digvijay is victory in all directions. Okay? Victory in all directions, victory by force is Digvijay. Beri Ghosha is the sound of the war drum. What is Beri Ghosha? Sound of the war drum.
So I knew this, but I just got confused with Digvijay.
Digvijay is victory in all directions by conquests.
Okay.
Okay? What is Dhamma Vijay?
May I say?
Yes.
It is victory by non-violence.
Right. Okay. The victory of truth, Dhamma or Dharma. Victory of Dharma is Dhamma Vijay. Okay. So now we are ready. We'll continue. Just a small part is left in this. Listen. Okay. Ashoka's Dhamma. I think we finished till military administration yesterday. No, this particular slide we have done.
Yes.
Ashoka's Dhamma. So, after Kalinga war, Ashoka became a people's king. He became non-violent and he left the policy of conquest. So, he became a people's king. He embraced Buddhism. He wanted his subjects to follow Dhamma. And Dhamma, as described in Ashoka's edicts, is not a religion but a moral code of conduct. So, what is Ashoka's Dhamma? A question can come. What is Ashoka's Dhamma? You must write the last point. The Dhamma, as described in Ashoka's edicts, is not a religion but a moral code of conduct. Okay? So, Dhamma is actually stressing on the principles of good behavior, good conduct, moral values, doing the right things. So, that is Dhamma. So, Dhamma says it is a moral code of conduct rather than a religion. Okay? What are the principles of Dhamma? What does Dhamma say? It says respect elders and love children. Respect to elders and love to children. So all children should respect their elders and elders should love their children. Ahimsa or non-violence. That is the foundation of Buddhism. So ahimsa or non-violence. Good deeds or good karma would give happiness to man in the next birth. This we have already seen all these principles in Buddhism. Jainism and Buddhism, we have seen that if you do good karma, you will get a good life in your next birth. In your next birth, you will have a good life. Then, what is it? Ashoka also said that people should respect and tolerate all religions. You may follow any religion, but you should respect all religions. And he disapproved empty rituals. So, no need to do elaborate rituals. So that these are all part of Buddhism. Basically, Buddhism doesn't believe in rituals. So all these things are already there. So Ashoka's Dhamma is the same. Dhamma means it's a moral code of conduct. It is not a religion. That is the key word. Please understand that. Underline the keywords. Keywords are not a religion, but a moral code of conduct. And what are the principles of Dhamma? Here there are 5 principles. They can ask you for 4 marks. So at least 4 you should remember. So this is all very simple. I don't think anything else is there for us to, really elaborate on that. And impact of Dhamma. What was the effect after Ashoka became a Buddhist and Dhamma became the guiding principle in everything that the king did? So what was the result of that? One was religious unity. Very good. People were, because they tolerated other religions and they respected other religions. Though people belonged and they followed different religions, there was unity. People belonging to different religions followed their emperor's policy of religious tolerance. So they did not fight with each other because their emperor said that we should respect all religions. So they also followed that policy. Then moral values. Because of Dhamma, people got influenced by Dhamma and started living a moral life. So they left all sorts of immoral things like stealing, burglary, violence, all these sort of crimes and all. They stopped and they started living a good life. So moral values increased. End of crimes. The policy of Ahimsa did have a great moral impact on people. Thefts, crimes and other activities almost came to an end. So there were 2 things. One is moral values increased and second is non-violence, principle of non-violence. Because of both these things, what happened? Crimes started reducing. There were hardly any crimes. So no thefts, no crimes and no such activities. Then public welfare. With the policy of conquest and wars having come to an end, Ashoka's Dhamma helped officials to undertake public welfare and public work scheme. This resulted in prosperity and helped the people to lead a peaceful life. So now the focus shifted to public welfare and people's problems. They were taken into consideration and efforts were taken to solve the problems of the people. So this led to a lot of prosperity. So with that, we come to the end of this chapter. So open your books. From where do we have to read? We didn't read only, no? The chapter?
No, ma'am.
Then we will read. So we'll start with Shrishti. Shrishti, please start the Mauryas. Page 43, I think. Is it page 43?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it's page 43.
Okay. See, markings I will not tell. We will only read because you take the markings from the scanned images that I have sent. From there, you do all the markings. Okay.
Ma'am, should I start?
Start.
The Mauryan Empire was founded in the 4th century BC by Chandragupta Maurya. He organized a powerful army and laid the foundation of a vast empire. He overthrew the Nandas from Magadha and Greek satraps from the northwest frontier and unified a large part of Indian subcontinent under his centralized government. His successor Bindusara kept the Mauryan Empire intact and further extended its boundaries. The reign of Bindusara's son Ashoka constitutes one of the brightest periods in Indian history. After the Kalinga War, Ashoka devoted his life to human welfare. He considered his subjects as his children. He built many marvels in art and architecture, some of which have survived up to this day. Sources. Literary sources. Arthashastra of Kautilya. Of all the literary sources on the history of the Mauryas, the most important source is the Arthashastra, written by Kautilya, also known as Vishnugupta, and Chanakya. He was the advisor and prime minister of Chandragupta. Arthashastra is written in Sanskrit. It is a comprehensive manual that deals with politics, rules of diplomacy, principles of administration, and other such political topics. This book was discovered in 1909 and its English translation is now available. Indica. Megasthenes was the Greek ambassador at the court of Chandragupta Maurya. He had been sent to the court by
Shrishti, 1 second. If at any point, if any child is not understanding anything or needs a bit of explanation or elaboration, you have to unmute yourself and ask. Okay? Because I've taught all this, I feel that all this you know, and it is like a recap. Reading the lesson is like a recap. At any point you're not understanding any line or anything, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. So Arthashastra was written by Vishnu Gupta, and what it deals with politics, rules of diplomacy, and principles of administration, etc. This is a very important point. Okay, carry on.
He wrote a book named Indica, which contains his impressions of what he heard and saw during his stay in India. Megasthenes' original Indica has been lost, but its fragments still survive in the writings of later Greek authors like Strabo, Arrian, and Diodorus.
In this thing, no, I have not underlined this Strabo, Arrian, and Diodorus, so please underline that. In the scanned images, this is not underlined. That's why I'm asking you to underline. Fragments survive in the writings of Arrian, Strabo. If you don't remember all the three also, at least one or two you should remember.
Ma'am, should I read?
Yeah, continue. Next page.
Archaeological sources. Edicts of Ashoka. An edict is a decree issued by a sovereign. The edicts of Ashoka form the most important source of Mauryan history. They are the oldest, best preserved, and precisely dated records of India. These edicts are inscribed on rocks and pillars throughout the country and include 14 major rock edicts, 7 pillar edicts, and a number of minor rock edicts. The inscription on these edicts provide a useful insight into the life and ideals of Ashoka, in particular and about the history of the Mauryas in general. The most important event of Ashoka's reign was the conquest of Kalinga. The indescribable sufferings and atrocities of the Kalinga War deeply touched Ashoka's conscience, and he made a solemn resolve not to take up arms anymore. The war drum, Bheri Ghosha, was silenced forever, and henceforth we were heard only the echoes of Dhamma Ghosha, the call to non-violence and universal peace. In pursuance of his policy of non-violence, Ashoka prohibited killing of animals for sacrifices, advocated restraint in the number that had to be killed for consumption, protected some of the animals, and in general condemned cruel acts against animals. Reference to protection of animals is made in the Rock Edict 1, which states, formerly in the great refectory and temple of the heaven-beloved king Piyadasi, daily were many 100,000 animals sacrificed for the sake of meat food. So even at this day, while this religious edict is under promulgation, from the sacrifice of animals for the sake of food, some too are killed or one is killed. But now the joyful chorus resounds again and again, and henceforward not a single animal shall be put to death. Sanchi Stupa.
Okay, 1 second. So this is what is written in the edict. In Rock Edict 1, what is written? It is written that previously many 100,000 animals were sacrificed in the temples of the beloved king Piyadasi. So Ashoka's another name is Piyadasi. Okay, that is another name of Ashoka. So many animals were killed for the sake of meat food, but as soon as this edict is going to come in force, not a single animal shall be put to death. That is what is the meaning of that edict. Okay, we don't have to learn the edict or know the edict and all. We only have to know the number. Rock Edict 1 talks about protection of animals. That is all you need to know for examination purposes. Okay. Okay, next. Carry on. Sanchi Stupa.
Sanchi Stupa. A stupa is a semi-spherical, solid, dome-like structure made of unburned bricks and stone. The Buddhist stupa has special significance. It represents the spiritual body of Buddha containing his relics such as hair, teeth, or bones. A casket containing these relics is placed at the base of the dome. The foundation of the Sanchi stupa was laid by Ashoka at Sanchi, about 45 kilometers from Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh. There are 4 gateways in 4 directions. They have carved panels depicting events from the life of Buddha and some tales from Jakarta stories. Buddha is represented by symbols like the peepal tree, lotus, or a wheel. The pillars are surmounted by capitals which contain sculptures of lions.
So, Jataka tales, that is not Jakarta, that's Jataka tales. Okay, so everything is clear, no? In Sanchi Stupa, it was built by Ashoka. It contains, it's a solid dome-like structure. It is built with stones and unburnt bricks. It contains a casket in the base, which contains relics of Buddha, like his hair, teeth, or nails, etc. It is considered to be the spiritual body of Buddha, and it has 4 gateways in 4 directions, and the gateways have got pillars which are surmounted by lion capitals, and the gateways have panels which have got sculptures of stories from the life of Buddha or Jataka tales. That's it. See, without seeing the book, I have told all the points. This is how you should remember. Okay, we don't have to remember the exact wordings of the textbook, but you should remember the information that you have to write in the answer. Okay. Now let's go to Chandragupta Maurya. Now who wants to read? Indranil wants to read. Okay, Indranil.
After him, can I?
Okay, after Indranil, you can read.
Okay.
Chandragupta, read.
The Maurya Empire, Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya was the founder of the Mauryan Empire. Not much known about his childhood. According to a legend, he had been dismissed from the service of Nandas who ruled before him. He met Kausalya at Takshila, and Kausalya, who later became famous as Chanakya, was the son of a Brahmin. Kausalya too was wronged by the Nandas. He therefore joined hands with Chandragupta to destroy the Nanda dynasty. After a long series of battles with Chandragupta, the Nandas at Patliputra fell. This led to the emergence of a new dynasty, the Mauryan dynasty, with Chandragupta Maurya as the emperor. Alexander, the Greek ruler, had conquered many states in the northwestern part of India, but after his death, territories in the Indian subcontinent were taken over by Chandragupta Maurya. With the help of Chanakya, he embarked on the consolidation process of his empire.
Okay, stop. So, did you all hear? So, here the details can be different. That is what I said. No, here it is saying that Chandragupta Maurya was wronged by the Nandas. Okay, and he was dismissed from the service of Nandas and all that. So, different books will say different things. There is really no way of establishing what is the truth. As far as I have read and I have seen other books also, there it was written that, Chandragupta Maurya was a small boy, okay, who, when he was discovered by Chanakya. Chanakya was wronged by the Nandas. Not Chandragupta was dismissed, it is written. I don't think this is true. So anyway, that doesn't matter. For us, all this is background story. So what matters is that Chandragupta and Chanakya joined hands together and defeated the Nandas, and they overthrew the Nandas from Magadha. That story is common. In all versions, you will see that there is no change in this. This information is correct in all the versions. And that is what we need to know. What we need to know is that these two people came together and decided to overthrow the Nandas, and then Chandragupta Maurya became the founder of the Mauryan dynasty. That's it, okay? Now, who was the next person who said who will read?
Anukrishna.
Yeah.
Anukrishna, okay, continue.
In 305 BC, India was again attacked by Seleucus, a former general under Alexander. Chandragupta defeated Seleucus. According to the treaty signed with Seleucus, Chandragupta got Kabul, Kandahar, Herat, and Baluchistan from the Greek commander. Seleucus gave his daughter Helen in marriage to Chandragupta.
Okay, stop here 1 minute. These things also I did not mark in the, what do you say, in the scanned copy, so please underline. Underline this. Chandragupta defeated Seleucus. According to the treaty signed with Seleucus, Chandragupta got Kabul, Kandahar, Herat, and Baluchistan from the Greek commander. And Seleucus gave his daughter Helen in marriage to Chandragupta. Underline this because this can come in small answers. They can ask you, what did Seleucus give to Chandragupta after he was defeated? Or what did Chandragupta get from Seleucus after he defeated him? So that is why you have to mark this. Okay. Continue.
After this victory, Chandragupta appointed Pushyagupta as the governor of his northwestern province. He then proceeded to the south and captured some territories there. Chandragupta's empire extended from Kabul and Kandahar in the northwest to Mysore in the south, and from Bengal in the east to Surashtra in the west. According to the Jain tradition, after ruling for 24 years, he renounced the world. He handed over the kingdom to his son Bindusara.
Okay. So the extent of Chandragupta's empire also is important. They can ask what was the extent of Chandragupta Maurya's empire. So Kabul and Kandahar in the north to Mysore in the south, and from Bengal in the east to Saurashtra in the west. Saurashtra is Gujarat. Okay, another name of Gujarat is Saurashtra. So Saurashtra in the west. Okay. Next, Jane, Bindusara is not there. So please strike of Bindusara.
Sumati ma'am.
Yeah.
Do we need to know about Pushyagupta?
No. All that is not needed. So whatever I'm saying, only underlined parts, if you read it also, it's more than enough. Okay. So just cancel Bindusara. In the next class, I think time is up. In our next class, we will start from Ashoka. We will read the lesson. Okay, we'll start from Ashoka. And now that I have finished the whole lesson for you, you guys can write the whole worksheet which I've posted in the group. Not only up to G, complete the whole worksheet. Some of the questions I have given the answers in the worksheet itself. I don't know how many people have opened that worksheet and, zoomed it and seen. But whichever questions I felt that, you people may not write the answer properly, I myself have given the answers there. Okay. And other answers which I have not given, you take from the markings that I have given in the scanned pages. Done?
Ma'am, we have to write those questions in our notebooks, history notebooks.
Yes, you have to write in the history notebook.
Done? Ma'am, so for writing the question answers, you have to make a new, you have to take the 200, you have to write into the 200 pages notebook.
Yeah. Take a new book. If you have already writing the previous books, previous chapters also, if you wrote in a new book, then you continue. If you have not started the 9th standard portions in a new book, now you start in a new book, and whatever you have already written, the last 3, chapters and all, whatever you wrote, you do one thing, you file those papers in a file and keep them. Don't attach them to this new book, because that book will become shapeless and it will become fat, and you will not be able to write the remaining, chapters comfortably if you start putting papers and sticking them. Yeah. So you file them and you learn from that. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Some people,
okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Some people had new books with them, so they started writing in the new book only from the beginning. So if you are writing in a new book, no need to change the book. Continue. But those who were writing in old books, whatever remaining pages were there, those who were writing in that, you remove the pages and file them and keep them neatly. Okay? And start a new book. Okay. Take care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.